We're going to take a look at how we can create a web-based Java application using Netbeans, how we can manage the build of that application with Git, and finally how we can get that exported and put on Tomcat to make it publicly available on our web server. So we have a few things going on in this video. So let's start off by opening up our Netbeans. And we want to make sure we're on the Projects tab, and we're going to File, New Project. And it's going to be a Java web project, web application. We need to give it a name. Let's call it Date Demo. The server that we're going to use will be Tomcat 8, Java Enterprise Edition 7 Web. Context path is fine. And we can leave all of these blank for now, and we'll click Finish. And I'll notice that it's continuing to work down here. It's not quite finished. And now my project has been built. And if I'm on the Projects tab over here, I can see my Date Demo project. And when I click into it, I can see web pages. This is where we are going to work right now. Source, libraries, configuration files, we'll deal with those in future projects. So right now I'm just in here. I don't want an HTML file. An HTML file is static web content. And for this application, I'm going to use JSP. And JSP is probably the oldest method for a Java web application. We're just going to write HTML, and we're going to stick Java into our HTML. So it's going to require some processing from Tomcat, so we can't use an HTML extension. We need to use a JSP extension. When the web server realizes that it needs to process the JSP, because it's a .JSP extension, it'll pass it to Tomcat, and Tomcat will do all of the back-end processing for us and return HTML or return static text that can be passed off to the user. So this whole thing will make more sense as we get going, but for right now, let's just close these up. We don't want an HTML file, so let's remove it. And instead, we want a JSP. So we're going to right-click Web Pages, New, JSP. This file name, let's call it index. We can choose where to put it. We're going to leave it just at the root here. And I can see that now my file is index.jsp. I can see that it's got some comments, and these are Java comments in our page here. Just the document name, the date, and the author. Going to expand that a little bit. We have our page derivative here and some basic content. I'll save this up. And I just want to make sure that my JSP page is running. So if I right-click Date Demo, the project, I can click Run. And I can see it working down here. And it opens my default browser. Localhost just means this computer or the local installation of Tomcat that's on my computer. Port 8080 is where the Tomcat service can be found, and you'll understand that more when you get through Datacom. And then Date Demo is the folder or the project name. And right now it's just displaying Hello World. So I have successfully deleted the index.html and created index.jsp. So now that I've got my project started, I want to manage it with Git. So the first thing I need to know is, where is this project located? Where's the file structure of this project? So if I right-click the project and select Properties, I can see where the project folder is. We configured the default path, the C, users, mic, documents, Netbeans projects, when we were installing Netbeans. So if you had chosen something different, then this would look different. And if you want to change the default path for future projects, you can look that up. But right now, this is where I want to go. So I need to open git bash. And I need to get into this directory. So right now, I'm in C, users, mic, so I need to cd into documents. CD into Netbeans projects. And if I look, I can see the date demo folder, so I'll CD into there. I'm essentially here, and I can see these files and folders. Now that I'm in that directory, I want to get in it to initialize a Git repository. And I can see now there are untracked files. I'm just going to add everything. And I can see all the new files and folders have been added, so I'm going to commit. And I can see that everything has been committed and the directory has been cleaned. So now I'm just going to go back and continue to work on my project, and then as it makes sense, I will go in and make further commits, and then when I'm ready to put this on GitHub, I can push it up. Okay, so I'm ready to start actually doing things in my project now, and this is just going to be a simple, I'm going to print out the date on with the web page, and we'll look at a couple different ways we're going to tackle that. So the first thing I want to do is just get in here, and I'll change my page title to Simple Date Demo. I'll leave the hello world up. So essentially I just wanted to say today is, and then print the date out there. All right, so if I'm going to make this happen, I want to insert Java into this page. So this is not the modern MVC method of programming. This would be probably the oldest version, where we just took HTML, wrote HTML, and stuck Java in it. We're going to start here so we have a basic understanding of what's going on, and then we'll build and move into the MVC model. So if I'm going to use some Java utilities, I need to import them. I need to create a new page directive at the very top. Remember, this parses top to bottom, left to right. So the first thing I want to do is import the Java utility that I want to use. So I'm going to use a page directive, and that page directive will have an attribute. It's going to import, and that attribute will have a value. I'm going to import the Java utility date, and then close that tag up. So essentially I'm going to import the date utility. Then I need to actually do the work, or do the Java. I'm going to do that between the head and the body. It's kind of where I like to put mine. And the Java goes between tags that look like this, less than %. And that opening tag gets closed with a % greater than. So I'll get here in the middle. And now this is going to be the Java that I want to do. So I want to declare a variable. So the first thing I need to do if I'm going to declare a variable is declare a variable type. It's going to be a date variable type. I need to give it a variable name that I'm going to use. Today is going to be my variable name. I'm going to populate that variable with a new instance of the date utility, and I close it up with a semicolon. These look the same, but they are referring to two different things. This is the data type of this variable name, And variable names, make sure that we're not using any spaces or any weird characters, letters, numbers, and probably camel case. This is a new instance of the date utility here. So these two go together, and these two go together. So now that I've stored the date in the variable today, I can use it down here. And if I'm going to use the variable, I need a Java expression. And it's less than % equals, and then the variable name. And then I can close it up with % greater than. And let me save this up. And let's look and see how it looks in our code. I can right click and choose run. And it looks like it's working. The title is there. Hello world was our H1. This is our paragraph. Today is. And this is the variable today. If I look at the source code, I can see that there's no processing or no notion of code in here at all. This is just text that's coming back. So the Tomcat server is taking this Java code, doing all the manipulation and the interpretation behind the scenes, and then returning out right here simple text. And we can see that simple text if we view the page source. So we have our simple date demo working pretty well with today's date. We're going to do a couple fancier things with it, but for right now, this is a good place to commit. Okay, so I've committed the project. And now I'm going to continue to build. This date that's coming back is pretty gnarly looking. So I want to format that a little bit more. So I'm going to import a second Java utility. And this time I'm going to import the simple Java date utility. Sorry, the simple date format utility. java.text.SimpleDateFormat. And this lets me format the date. I'll get down here into my Java code and then I'm going to use it. So I need to create a data type of simple date format. I need to create a variable name. I need to populate that with a new instance of simple date format. And I need to pass this instance an argument, and I'm going to pass it the format I want the date in. I want the date in day, day, month, month, year, year, year. After I've created this new instance of the simple date format, and I've passed it the formatting instructions, I need to create another variable of the data type string. That variable is going to have kind of a weird name, but this is telling me the formatting. It's just my preference. That's going to be set equal to this date format. Those two go together right there. The dot format method, and then I'm going to use the today variable. So today and the Java utility, the Java date utility, are actually getting the day and time. This is just simply formatting it. So I'm taking this instance of simple date format and applying the formatting to the today variable. Then I can come down here and I've just created a new paragraph and I'm using this variable name. And let's see what happens when we run it. There it is, day, month, year. The formatting looks better. So I'm going to, I have this working now. I'm going to commit this. And that day, month, year, it's kind of the way everybody else in the world formats it. So we're going to call that international formatting. And then in the US, we usually format it a little bit different. So these are the two pieces of logic that are formatting the date for me. Now you notice I've got duplicate variable names and I can't have that, so I'm going to call this date format US. I want this formatting to look a little different. In the US, we usually do month / day / 4 years. So I'll change this variable name. Use this variable down here. And refresh the page. And I can see here's the common US format. If I were to break the logic down again, I imported the date utility and I imported the simple date format utility. Today is the variable that's populated using that date utility, so it's getting the date and time right now. This is just two simple ways to format it using that simple date format utility. So data type variable name equals a new instance of that utility. And when I create the new instance of that utility, I pass the formatting instructions. Then I create another string with a new variable name. This date format refers to this, so it's reusing this instance of the simple date format. Here's the specific formatting instructions that go to this instance. I'm going to use the format method and I'm going to pass it the variable for today. So take the date and time right now and format it according to these format instructions. And then I did the same thing down here for the date format US. I created another instance, data type, variable name that's different from this variable name, different formatting instructions, then created a new string with another variable name. So format today, the method, using this variable type, which has these instructions. I'm sorry, using this variable name, which has these instructions. And then put it all out down here. When I'm done with that, I will commit it. And everything is clear. I'll go into my GitHub and create the repository. You can call it whatever you like. I'm going to call this date demo. I'm going to make it a public. I'm not going to initialize this because I already have my repository created locally. So I will push it up. Let me create the repository. So after I've added the remote repository, I come in here and I need to take note of this URL. I need to add that URL, get remote, add origin. So this local repository, I need to link it to the remote repository on GitHub. Now that is done. And then I can push the local to the remote. And I can see my commits, so that looks like it is working correctly. So at this point, I'm done making changes to my project. I have done my final commits here. I've pushed it up to GitHub, so I'm done with Git. I can close that. Now I need to figure out how to put this on Tomcat. I want to create a .war file that I can import into my Tomcat. So if I come up and right-click the project and select Clean and Build, I should get a build successful. After I see the build successful, I can come into the actual project, so Documents, Netbeans, Date Demo. I now have a new folder in here called dist, or distribution, and there's my war file. If I have that, I'm ready to take the next step and try to get it on Tomcat. I'll visit my web server, and I'm F1500. I'll click on Tomcat Manager. I want to select a war file to upload. It's now chosen, and I'll deploy it. And I can see it went in here as Date Demo. So now if I come up to my server, :8080, that's how we get to Tomcat, /Date Demo. My application is on Tomcat and is running correctly. The last thing I'll want to do is edit under my Java assignments to include it. So I need to edit the index.html on my web server. To edit that file, I'm going to use FileZilla and connect to my server. I'm going to set the file on my desktop for now is fine, so I go there. On the remote server, I need to download index.html. After the file is down, I want to edit it. And so here I've just made them unordered lists. Each hyperlink is a list item. Remember when you're doing this hyperlink to put :8080 so that it'll access the Tomcat server. And then just giving it the Date Demo app. I'll save this up. And then I'll drag it back to my web server and I'll overwrite. And now when I refresh, my new application is in here.